Chris. Thanks for being on the podcast with us. So you've spoken about the word no a lot. And I just was curious if you could expand on that, what you mean when you talk about no in negotiations, especially for women who want to negotiate for higher salaries.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you know, the thing about no is interesting because no builds trust, you know? And to people who feel like they don't have any power over their decisions that they're going to make, being able to say no is sometimes all you have. So yeah, it's powerful.
Oh my God, I love that. So true.
It's interesting, to the word no, I'd like to touch on that a little bit because, when Mikhaila was a toddler, I distinctly remember she was constantly making pee-pee in her pants over and over again. It was incessant. And I would tell her, Mikhaila, you have to use the potty. It's not okay. It's not okay. And she would look back and say, Daddy, no.
I understand that completely.
She would keep making pee-pee, soiling her undies.
It's very common.
Well, it's funny, man, she was, it's very hard and challenging to overcome that.
People often piss their pants in a hostage situation, too. People want agency over their lives. They want to know that the decisions that they're going to make ultimately are going to define their own outcomes.
Eventually, we reached some kind of agreement. I would say it was a compromise, but I don't know. When did that stop?
Hey, I understand that.
Okay, so moving on. I knew this podcast would be interesting.
From both of you.
So, Chris, you've talked also a lot about in your book, dialoguing and building trust. Can you touch upon some of those ideas?
What's really important, and this is something I write about in the book, is you want to establish with the person you're negotiating with is a cycle of dialogue. As long as you're dialoguing, you're going to get somewhere that you weren't before. So a cycle of dialogue is a first step in any good negotiation.
That's interesting.
So yeah.
I like that.
Well, I want to touch on that a little bit. It's interesting that you bring up the word cycle, because when Mikhaila was about 13 or 14, she had her first period, and it was a bloody mess, a bloody mess, so. And, man, we didn't know what to do at the time. It was really quite something.
I mean, from what I understand, a woman's flow can vary in intensity.
Right. Well, man, this was quite chaotic, to say the least.
Were you able to take care of it?
Moving on. Can we... Sorry. Can we... You mentioned experience. You mentioned experiences. I think later on in the book, there's a couple of chapters about new experiences and how to deal with new experiences. As we develop. Oh, not develop. No, how we progress in our careers, in our personal lives, what we bring to especially new experiences. Can you talk about that?
We're conditioned to believe all sorts of things, and we make decisions sometimes from an unstable place.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's a new novel experience that we're going to have, it's important to remember that you got to give it proper thought and understand your intention going into it.
Well, that's where the thought, Yeah. I want to push back on that a little bit because, when Mikhaila lost her virginity...
Okay, we're done.
That's all right.
Well...
Yeah, she's shy.